Thank you. Welcome all to this special meeting of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista. It is 5:20 on Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. This is a continuation of an item that we held over from our last meeting. Vice Mayor Flores, will you please start us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Flores. Councilmember Friels.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
Here.
And Councilmember Edge has an excused absence. Mayor, we have a quorum, 4 present.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the council on matters on this agenda. The law does not permit council action or extended discussion of any items not on the agenda except under special circumstances. If council action is requested, the council may place this matter on a future agenda, and I apologize before we get to that. Attorney Raffi, can you please take us out of the last meeting?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I can do that. The council met this evening in a special meeting to convene in closed session. There was one comment by the public, Ms. Ponce, prior to the council entering the closed session this evening. And during the closed session, the council received information and provided direction. However, there was no reportable action taken this evening in that closed session. There was a motion to adjourn, and the closed session did adjourn at 5:15 just prior to this special meeting. So this would constitute my report out of the closed session from the special meeting held earlier this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for public comment, we are going to hold public comment until each item is taken up. So please sit by. Action item 3A, approve the affidavit of posting of the agenda. May I have a motion? Or does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on this? Councilmember Friels,
So moved.
No question.
do we have any comments? Councilmember Friels,
No question.
thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores,
No questions.
thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman,
Nope, no questions.
thank you. Now may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you very much.
I'll
May I have a second? Thank you.
Mayor, would you like to take public comment on this item?
I'm sorry, can we have public comment on this item?
Start with Zoom or Chambers?
Zoom, please.
Okay, so thank you for those who have attended tonight. If you would like to speak on this matter, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you have dialed in, please press *9. When you are brought into the meeting, you will get, Mayor, would you like to do 3 minutes tonight on this part or 2 minutes?
3 minutes.
Minute. So once you're brought into the meeting, your 3 minutes will start once you unmute yourself. For those that dialed in, that would be *6. Anyone like to speak on this matter? Now is the time to raise your hand. There
And
are
this
no
is,
hands raised.
thank you very much. Don, will you take care of the chambers, please?
I believe there's no one interested in speaking on this matter in the chambers.
Thank you very much. There has been a motion by Vice Mayor Flores and a second by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
We have Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes,
Motion passes by all members present.
thank you very much. Action item 3B, adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista. 1, declaring a public nuisance to exist on a parcel commonly known as 451 San Juan Hollister Road. And 2, directing the city manager to post, publish, and mail notice of hearing to consider abatement of said public nuisance. Attorney Rathi.
Thank you, Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as you mentioned, this is a continuation from the matter the council heard on Tuesday, October 18th. It does have to do with the conditions of the property at 451 San Juan Hollister Road, essentially which constitute a violation of the floodplain ordinance in the sense that the floodplain itself has been altered somewhat from the original topography, and also that there have been spoils and some grading done in the vicinity and adjacent to the San Juan Creek watershed. At this point, we're at the first step in determining that the public nuisance exists on the property, and that would be followed, as Mayor mentioned, I think, that a hearing on November 15th to consider objections to that declaration, at which time the council had the opportunity to order the city manager to abate the nuisance. And I wanted to be clear that and I know the property owner and a representative are present here this evening, and I welcome. I wanted to be clear that this does not foreclose or prevent the property owner from working with the city to abate the conditions on the property. And we're certainly not closing any doors by doing this, but the action does set up essentially a parallel enforcement mechanism that the city can use on its own recognizance if it finds it to be absolutely necessary to correct the conditions on the property. Because this does affect the San Juan Creek watershed and potentially the wetlands elsewhere on the property, the violation is a nuisance that could affect large numbers of people in the neighborhood, as well as the community at large, which is why we've constituted it as a public nuisance. There are also multiple regulatory agencies that are interested in the condition of the property at this time, and I've described those in the staff report. So at this time, really, the issue before you is, do you believe and will you be able to find and establish that that the conditions of the property right now do constitute a violation of the municipal code, and that the city should then proceed to take the next steps in accordance with the municipal code to abate the nuisance, have the city manager abate the nuisance if that proves necessary.
Thank you.
And
Sorry.
I was just going to close with, we did establish, if the council would desire to use them, it's not required, a certain order of priority for comments and response to comments and council questions this evening, based upon the fact that on the 18th, the council spent about 2 hours considering this matter, and there was quite a bit of, I'll say, questions asked and answers provided by both the council staff and the property owner. It was more of a free-form discussion at that time. I think it served its purpose at that time. I think it was a good discussion. I think certain questions got asked and answered. However, tonight, if it would be council's pleasure, I would suggest that we limit and structure the comments a little bit on a more strict timeline, giving both staff and
Absolutely.
property owner equal time. That's all I
Yep,
have.
I have this in front of me. I have the outline in front of me, and we will follow it. Thank you for that, Attorney Rathi. City staff comments, please keep your comments and or presentations limited to 10 minutes. Are there any further comments from staff?
No, but we're here for questions.
Mayor, I could also, before we move on, let me just ask if the Assistant City Manager, Community Development Director has any comments he would like to make at this time. That would be appropriate.
I did. I just asked if staff had any questions. Thank you.
I agree with Dawn.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other city staff that wishes to make a comment?
No,
Thank you
Mayor.
very much. Property owner representative comments. Do we have any comments from any individuals? And this will cumulatively be no more than 10 minutes. Norma, do we have anybody who wishes to speak to this? You are
As
on
I'm
mute.
unmuting myself, sorry.
Very much.
Yeah, I do have Matt Kelly from Kelly Engineering to be brought in. Would you like me now to bring Matt in?
Well, Mayor, would
go
you want
ahead.
the applicant, well, you want the property owner to speak first, and then Matt is hired by the property owner, right?
Right.
Is the property owner present
Yes,
in chambers?
yes.
Okay, cumulatively between the property owner and any persons that the property owner wishes to represent them, you have 10 minutes, not 10 minutes each.
And I think the order of that you want to present would be up to you. 10 minutes total. Total. Thank you.
Okay.
So is Mr. Roscoe coming up or are we going with Matt?
Did you hear that, Norma? They would like Matt to go first.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I didn't.
Thank
I'm bringing
you.
Matt in.
We cannot hear anybody in chambers unless they speak directly into the microphone. Mr. Roscoe, if you wish to speak, please come to the microphone and speak. Thank you very much, Matt. Welcome. You have any portion of the 10 minutes that Mr. Roscoe is allowing you to have.
And once you unmute yourself, Matt, the 10 minutes will start.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and staff. I'd like to start by expressing my appreciation for the clarification of what this declaration is in the staff report, as well as just given by the city attorney. I have read the corrective actions and I don't have any objections to them. I've identified consultants that the Orozco family could hire to take care of a number of these. I can take care of the hydrologic concerns and morphology concerns of the creek and the restoration of the contours back to the 2018 conditions. I've identified consultants for biology and the cultural sensitivity issues. I also want to point out that we are also waiting, as the city attorney pointed out, we are waiting for direction from Fish and Wildlife and possibly the Army Corps. But I feel the Orozcos are ready to, move forward, get the spoils adjacent to the bank stabilized, and look for hiring some additional consultants. We are entering the holiday season, and as you know, things tend to slow down. Consultants are spending time with their families, taking vacations like everybody else, and this may take some time. The biological review and the cultural review may take some time. I think the other components, the hydraulic study I can do in very short time. I can also come up with a plan to stabilize the spoils adjacent to the creek in a very short time. My preference would be to have them removed, but if the concern is to disturb cultural resources, then I don't want to do that. If we want to stabilize them for the winter and then act on them after the cultural resources have been reviewed, that sounds like an appropriate plan as well. Really appreciate your time and the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There is 7 minutes and 45 seconds remaining.
Does Mr. Roscoe wish to speak, or is there anybody else on Zoom who wishes to speak?
Can we allow Anne to speak first, please?
Oh, Anne is up here. Hold on. Thank you. I'm bringing Anne in as a panelist here.
And can you please remove Mr. Kelly?
Do we Okay. mhm.
Oh,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
right. I don't know that question. I don't know the answer to that question. Thank
Great.
you.
You're welcome. Anne, I'm trying to bring you in oh, there we go. Anne looks like he's trying to bring, and then there's a PRO. Is that also a representative for the Orozcos?
Yeah, I don't, no.
Okay, thank you. And I do have someone on the phone. Hold on. So Anne, you're brought in if you want to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Anne. The time will start up as soon as you unmute. Ms. Hall?
Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. Anne, I bet you have a phone number. Hand raised here. Is this you, Anne?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
can.
apologize for that.
No problem. That's just the one trick with Zoom. I would just like to echo what Matt said. I believe that he has the ability to address a number of these questions. I also feel some of the confusion up to this point, and I think I alluded to this last time, had to do with some lack of clarity and direction, possibly from the previous engineering consultant, I think was part of what led to some of the current situation. I know obviously last time you introduced you have a new engineering consultant on board, and it might be worth a meeting with the applicant and Matt and the engineering consultant, since this is primarily an engineering issue, to maybe see if we could rectify that lack of clarity, which has been frustrating on our end. So that's my main comment, that I think Ms. Roscoe is serious about trying to rectify this, but there has been some frustration. And perhaps with the new engineer involved, that might be helpful as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Do we have any others that wish to speak on behalf of the Orozco party?
And with that, there is still 6 minutes and
Yes.
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you very much. Please state your name for the record.
Nina Patani. I'm an attorney from Monterey County. Good evening to all of you. I'm sort of new to the problem, but I know my comments will be brief. I feel that a nuisance is generally declared when the public is threatened or there's some noxious noise or something disturbing or harmful to the public. It seems to me that what we have here is an issue on potential disturbance of a floodplain and potential disturbance of a waterway. It's not clear whether there's actually been a disturbance that is creating any harm, whether the floodplain is actually meaningfully impacted, whether there's any compromise of the waterway, and information is needed in order to determine if there is. Thus far, Ms. Roscoe does not have information that indicates that there is a problem on the floodplain or the creek. So that is to be determined. She is an eager property owner and citizen of the city. I think she fully wants to comply, but it seems to me she has not known what is expected of her. The signals have been a little confusing, and it seems that we don't even know yet, none of us, is there a problem with the floodplain? Her engineers show me topographical studies that show it's in the same condition now as it was 6 years ago. So we don't really know that there is a problem with the floodplain that endangers anybody. And we also don't know that there is a danger or present issue with the creek. It seems to me it would be wise to first determine those things and then decide if it merits actions such as declaration of a nuisance, which is pretty extreme and quite costly to all involved, not just the city, but the property owner as well. And with that, I hope that we can work together to figure out what has happened and solve it promptly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other members of the Orozco party? Orozco.
I'm Maria Orozco. the
Thank
property
you.
owner.
Welcome, Maria. Go ahead.
Good evening to all. Yes, I am and still am willing to continue to work with the city to be able to abate this issue. I have been willing since the very beginning. There has been many things that have been avoiding for us to work together, such as a reimbursable agreement and also the invoices in question that are yet to be justified and clarified. I have requested this justification for these invoices for quite some time, and I did get some of them back from Brian on the 21st, and I have looked through them, and I still have many things, many questions to be asked about them because there are many repetitive entries. And I have requested to see if we can, whoever involved that could explain, maybe sitting down and going down the individual charges and just coming into clarification, what exactly is owed. I am more than willing to pay what is owed to the city and try to resolve this issue as quick as possible. I hope that you guys can give us time and not declare the property a nuisance. We have been in interaction with Brian. Brian has in full control. He has the Schaffman Willer, he contracted the Schaffman Willer company to do the study. I have not seen the invoice still today. I have not seen the study today. So it has held us back to be able to abate or to be able to fix anything, since we don't have the adequate information needed. I have proceeded to get my own studies done since I don't have the Schaffman Willer, so we can move on and do what we need to do. I've already got some quotes on other companies that can work with me as well as my civil engineers. So if the city can take some time and sit with us to adjust those invoices, we can pay that, and we could determine what exactly the next step would be to work with the city to get any issue resolved as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other members from the Orozco party?
Mayor, the property owner indicates that there's no other representative to speak.
Thank you very much. Council members, questions, comments, concerns? Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels?
Just a quick comment, and I have a question for the city manager. Last week,
Go ahead. Can you
last week
please
we're-
talk into your microphone? Sorry.
all right, just a quick comment and then a question for the city manager. After last week, we were provided with a fairly large stack of paperwork from Mrs. Orozco, and I didn't feel, the reason I asked to stretch this out for a week, I didn't feel the public had a chance to see it. And neither did staff, and I was a little concerned about maybe Brown Act violations, not sure. Plus the fact I think the public should have a shot at, so that's the reason. And in saying that, I did go through the stack. I had just one question real quick for the city manager. There were some photos and it showed a huge pile of soil. Was the pile of soil, is that huge pile of soil, was that on the flood, in the floodplain or in the construction exclusionary plain?
I'd like to defer to Brian on that. I haven't looked at those photos in some time.
Okay, sorry.
The floodplain is majority of the property, and the map you referred to at the last meeting. you
Yeah.
Find that. Brian, do you
Yes,
recall?
of course. Yeah. Yeah, those photos are from the site visit that we took. And some of them are from 2020, some of them are from 2022. The piles of dirt that are shown sort of linear fashion adjacent to the creek. Those piles are those piles are in the floodplain. The creek is considered in the floodplain, and so part of that whole area. So yes, the answer is yes. The short answer is yes.
Okay, and are they, is that large pile still there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's, no more questions. Thank you.
Mr. Freely, can I,
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you. I just wondering if the Shop and Wheeler report has been completed and been viewed by staff. Either Brian or Don can answer that. Or the attorney. Mr. Raffy.
Bob, would you like to take that first?
Sure, Brian. I could just briefly answer part of it. I believe the study has been partially complete. It is not a complete study at this point. And I'll let Brian expound on that.
Yeah, the study is a comprehensive study of all the activities, the results of all the activities that occurred in March 2022. And included in that study is an examination of the topography of the floodplain itself, the flat portions, and it is not complete with respect to the characterization of the areas adjacent to and within the creek. So that's the portion that remains to be completed, and when complete, will allow us to fully characterize the nature of the violation.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Do we have any public comment from Zoom?
Thank you for those who are in attendance tonight. If you would like to speak on this matter, you'll be limited to 2 or 3 minutes, Mayor.
2, please.
2 minutes, okay. You'll be limited to 2 minutes. Please raise your hand by using the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. And when you are brought in, if you unmute yourself.
And can you please, Norma, can you please take off Mr. Kelly and Ms. Hall and the phone number if that's not a public comment?
They will be able to have a response time right after this public comment. Do you want me to take them off right now and bring them
Yeah,
back
please.
in? Okay.
Yep.
And so two also, Anne, your comment time was during the applicant. It isn't right now. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get these back in here. So for the others who are in attendance, if you would like to speak, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. And when you are brought in, you'll get 2 minutes once you unmute yourself. Let me double check here. It appears that at this time the only hand raised is Anne, who's a representative of the applicant. And that time to speak and rebut the applicant's representatives and the applicant is later.
Do we have any other public comment from the chambers?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify on that.
I'm sorry, Don, do we have any public comment from the chambers?
The only one showing an interest is Mr. Roscoe.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have no public comments, so there's no response to public comments. Do we have any city staff response or rebuttal?
No.
Thank you very much. I am now turning this back over to the city council.
Mayor?
Yes.
We need the property owner's response opportunity to respond. 5 minutes would be appropriate now.
we had no public comment. Was that a response to any public comment?
It's a
It could be re-
response.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Bob, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it could be response to public comment, it could be a response to council questions. It could be a sum up or any other comment to property.
Understood. Okay. Ms. Orozco, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify the amount of dirt that Mr. Fields was speaking of. Is it the amount of dirt that's in the east, south of the property, or is it a little pile that were taking the pictures that we have? You guys have pictures of both?
I was talking about the large, there's a large pile, linear pile. I was curious where that was,
Okay,
not the small piles, the large one. It looks like, you know, there's thousands of square feet of square cubic yards of soil.
yes, that dirt actually comes from the grading permit that I was given, and we brought the dirt onto the property. And then I had the violation to remove the dirt. That's where I was supposed to place the dirt. So that's the dirt where that comes from. And it's out of the floodplain in that section.
And then sorry, Maria, you do have Ann Hall who's requesting to speak on your behalf. Would you like to use up the remaining 4 minutes for Ann?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, Ann, you are in the meeting. It looks like you're unmuted.
Welcome,
Okay,
Ms.
I
Hall.
was just going to clarify the same item that Ms. Orozco already did, which for Councilmember Friels, as part of the 2020 grading permit, which was applied for and obtained, there was a stockpile area identified that the dirt had to be taken to and stockpiled. So I believe if he's talking about a large pile of dirt, that is the stockpile, which was approved under the 2020 grading permit.
Okay. Mayor, there's still 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining.
Does anybody from the Orozco party wish to use up that time?
I would. This is
Please
Nina
state your name for
Patani.
the record.
Nina Patani. I'm a lawyer representing Cynthia Roscoe. The linear pile of dirt, just for clarity, because humans often miscommunicate, is the stockpile of dirt that is not in the floodplain and was put there at the specific direction of the city. In other words, my client was first issued a permit to import dirt and then told, oops, that shouldn't be there, move it. She moved it to the linear stockpile that you see. And our understanding is it was at the city's direction and is not in the floodplain. The second thing is that the Schaefer and Willer report, Staff and Miller, Staff and Willer report, it was specifically commissioned to try to learn if there's a problem with the floodplain. Is there an issue? Has it been disturbed in a material way? Has the creek or the hydrology of it been disturbed in any significant way? My client doesn't have that report. Now, I know the city had said it's because it's only partly done, but if that was indeed the report that was to give feedback to the property owner as to whether there is anything wrong first, and if so, what is to be done about it, she does not have the benefit of the information in that report. She agreed to pay for the report. She agreed with Brian to pay for it, but she doesn't have the benefit of it yet. So I think that's why she's feeling, kind of hogtied is she wants to work to solve a problem that may exist, but the problem has not been defined in a way that allows action. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, although all of you may know more than I, but I think the problem is not defined. And that's really the main issue I see. The problem, if there is one, is not defined. And it's hard to solve a problem that hasn't yet been defined. So we need the Schaefer and Miller report, S&W report, sorry. I don't know their names, so that we can know, is there a problem? What is
1
it?
minute.
And what does it take to fix it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no further comments from staff,
Well, I do have
I
a
have-
couple. Oh,
Yes,
go
and I
ahead.
do,
Go- Brian, go ahead.
I do as well. If it helps, the city council, understand the location of the grading violations that we're talking about, we do have photographs, and I can just simply share my screen and we can scroll through those photographs pretty quickly, if you like. And that they clearly show grading within the area of the floodplain and adjacent to the creek, both of which are in the floodplain, neither of which have anything to do with the grading violation that occurred in 2019 through 2020. And all of which has everything to do with the grading violation that occurred in 2022. So I'd be
thank you
happy
very
to go
much. Have we been
scroll through
provided
those
with
if you
these
like.
photos? Have we been provided with these photos, Brian?
Yeah, those photographs are part of your packet and they're labeled photographs 2020, various dates in 2020, as well as labeled dates in 2022. So you have a series of those photographs in your October 18th packet.
The October 18th packet.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
want me to
Brian, if
rate-
you want to throw those up, and Attorney Rathi, if while those are up, you had comments?
Not hearing any of that.
Yeah, we're not hearing any of that, but Brian, did
I
you
didn't-
have, oh, there you go.
I didn't have my mic turned on. I'm sorry. I was muted myself. In my opinion, the city is best protected by taking this action tonight. As I've tried to say, this does not foreclose, nor are we saying we don't want to work with the property owner. We recognize this is a significant intrusion on the property owner's, rights. So we want to be cognizant of that and try to get this resolved as quickly as we can. I would make the observation that I think maybe we could make two changes, one in the resolution and one in the conditions that we've established for correcting the violation. One is that in the resolution, and this addresses the issue that Attorney Patani brought up, which was a good issue. I would suggest that the council include a finding in the resolution that just declaring that the evidence presented on the 18th and the 25th this evening of grading and spoils along the San Juan Creek watershed and changes in topography in the floodplain affect the neighborhood, and therefore that they do constitute a public nuisance under the Civil Code 3480. And I thank you for raising that with me this evening. I think it's an important distinction. And the other thing is, I think we should move from section looking for it right now. The H, under the 1H of the notice to abate, the requirement that the property owner be required to obtain a performance bond. Frankly, given some recent experience with another project here, we found that it's very, very difficult for small projects or projects of a different nature, I'll say, to get a performance bond. And I don't think we really need one, given the proceeding to abate the nuisance, if we follow through with abating the nuisance. So I don't want to put something into the corrective actions that would cause a failure right out of the gate. I don't think that's fair. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
In the 5-minute time here for the staff rebuttal, there is 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining.
Okay. That's for staff rebuttal.
That is-
I know the property owner, the attorney has a comment to make, but I think just out of courtesy for attendance tonight, I would yield that 1 minute and 30 seconds to her.
We still have Brian that wants to present the photos.
Okay.
Yes, I've been scrolling through the photos as the city attorney's been speaking. And everyone have a chance to see those?
I think so.
Okay, all right. These
Could
are
you
all
just-
20.
Just
These
talk
are all-
about the creek. These are, Brian, these are on the Ottoboni property line along the creek, correct?
Correct. So we have all these photographs. We have photographs from 2022, which aren't relevant to the 2020 violation. So you see here the area of the floodplain that was delineated previously. You can see here that the creek itself exists here, and the Army Corps of Engineers had commented previously that these areas were potential navigable waters and need to be addressed if anything was done in that particular area. And so you see here, in terms of the aerial photograph, just Google Earth to get some orientation. We're talking about the creek that's adjacent on this
That's important right there.
on these sides of the property here, this location. And also there was some disturbance in some areas that aren't in the floodplain, but adjacent to San Juan Hollister Road that need to be addressed as well, because those are part of the drainage for the creek. So this picture shows the overall landscape of the floodplain from 2022. Shows the area where grading occurred during that in that same area. This shows that same area looking from the Ottavani property across the site. And then here we begin to see, at the corner of the property at San Juan Hollister Road, some vegetation that has actually been disturbed and pushed into the creek at that location. Here you see again some disturbance that actually has pretty much affected the riparian corridor here, which is habitat for sensitive species potentially, and could also involve some cultural resource issues adjacent to the creek. As we know,
Thank you very much.
a lot of these areas are sensitive.
And the 5 minutes has ended, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, it is now time for the council to vote on to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista. 1, declaring a public nuisance to exist on the parcel commonly known as 451 San Juan Hollister Road. And 2, to direct city manager to post, publish, and mail notice of hearing to consider abatement of said public notice. Do I have a motion?
Hang on a second. I'd like to have a discussion because we received some additional information in the past 5 minutes with no chance for the council to throw out its input or suggestions. So in my experience, it would traditionally allow, after public input, we allow the council to add theirs.
This was set up by Attorney Rathie. So I yield to Attorney Rathie and Norma on the proceedings here.
So sorry, did I hear Bob?
I was just going to say that it's not mandatory that the council follow, every section here. The most important thing is the council hear the information that it needs to hear to make a decision. So I'm not trying to hamstring.
Yes, and
the
Council
intention-
Freeman is right. The council does need opportunity to deliberate amongst the council. And that, I think, is what you're looking for and requesting, Councilman Freeman, is deliberation.
Yes, and I do have a question.
Okay, so yes, he is correct. Deliberation does need to occur. That is the time right now to happen. That can happen once a motion is on the floor and the discussion is on the floor and owned by the council. You deliberate that motion at hand, or I believe it's also been that, Mayor, you have allowed some deliberation amongst the council to occur to help guide what kind of motion is wanting to be done. So either way, Council Freeman is correct. Council deliberation does need to occur somewhere in this moment.
And it doesn't matter if it's before or after a motion.
It does not. as long as, we know that we don't take a vote until we're allowing that opportunity, unless someone calls a point of order to motion, or to vote. But yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Please proceed, Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, I have a question for staff and possibly for the applicant too. And that is, was something called a SWIP, which is a stormwater pollution prevention plan, ever required on this project? By the city, by the state, or by even the federal government, Army Corps of Engineers?
It is a component of the development permit that we would issue, is that there be two parts to that development permit. The first be a SWIP for the spoils that are there to stabilize them. And then in relation to the regrading and restoration of the site for storm drain purposes, there would, and we're, the criteria that we're asking for, qualifications that we're asking for the development permit and the plan submitted be either reviewed by or prepared by someone with stormwater pollution plan credentials.
Well, in this case, since it involves a creek and a watershed, it is required by state law that a PE prepare the SWIP. Other
Correct.
people, such as me, can prepare SWIPs, but I do not have a PE designation nor an engineering degree, so I can't do it for you. But frankly, it should have been required at the get-go at the very beginning. Bottom line.
Yeah, if the development permit had been submitted, that would have been what we're looking for, and the criteria for acceptance of the application for development permit includes that as a requirement.
Okay, thank you.
And that also is based on size too, correct?
No. SWIPs are required, period.
Thank you
Based
very
on-
much.
okay,
Okay, it is now time again to deliberate. To make a motion to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, 1, declaring a public nuisance to exist on a parcel commonly known as 451 San Juan Hollister Road, and 2, directing the city manager to post, publish, and mail notice of hearing to consider abatement of said public nuisance. Do I have a motion?
And Mayor, would that motion include the proposed finding that I described prior? And also the removal of the bonding requirement?
As amended. Do I have a motion? I make a motion to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, 1, declaring a public nuisance to exist on the parcel commonly known as 451 San Juan Hollister Road, and 2, directing the city manager to post, publish, and mail notice of hearing to consider abatement of said nuisance as amended by City Attorney Bob Rathie. Do I have a second? I cannot hear anybody.
I second it.
Thank you very much. May I please have a roll call?
Great, thank you. Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
motion passes. The resolution is presented, plus the amendments as the attorney presented, with a 4 yes, 1 absent vote.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Freeman and Councilmember Friels, may I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Flores,
Aye.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
motion passes. The meeting is officially adjourned at 6:10 PM.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for this. I appreciate all the time.